Outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
Opinionated, outspoken, informative. The Jaguar Journal. Your source for the latest information on Southern University sports and SWAC athletics. A Baton Rouge sports talk tradition.
All right, it is bright and early on a Saturday morning. You know what time it is. It is the Jaguar Journal. I am Perry White. Good morning to everybody out there listening to Radio Land. Good morning to our subscribers on YouTube as well as on Facebook. I know it's bright and early. A lot of you guys are just getting up. Go use the bathroom. Go get your coffee. I don't know if you still get newspaper. Everything digital these days. So whatever the case may be, as you slowly start getting in here, we'll continue the conversation. Great show for you guys today. Southern University naming a new head volleyball coach. as well as Coach Crenshaw, the baseball coach at Southern University. Southern get a big baseball victory yesterday over in Houston at the Cactus Jack tournament. We're going to have Coach Chris Crenshaw coming on to talk to us, and as well as my guy, HBCU Go TV. You know he's a HBCU broadcasting legend. My guy Charlie Neal is going to come in and join us. And what we got in the studio, we got a special guest here in the studio.
Hello. Hi, my name is Sydney Cuillier, also known as the sports journalist, and it is a pleasure to be here today.
Miss Sydney Cuillier is a student at Southern University. This young lady has been in the sports world. She's been moving around doing things. So I said, you know what? Come on to Jaguar Journal. I'm seeing you do sports reports. You're interviewing the coaches and the players. Let's see what she got. She has a show as well. Talk about your show, Sydney.
Yes, so I actually have a show here that shows all over the state of Louisiana called Sydney's on the Clock. Through Pelican Broadcasting, you can find me on Cox Channel 20, AT&T Channel 11. I am on cable all over the state of Louisiana. There I have a co-host also. His name is Christopher Williams, also goes by Chris Williams. And we sit there and we talk about everything sports, from collegiate, professional, anything, you name it.
Sound like me when I was in school, man. I started this thing called On the Yard, kind of took it off from there. But the fact that you're still a student and been able to put that together, have a show, what kind of got you into wanting to do the sports thing and the broadcasting side of it?
Well, actually, that's a funny story that I absolutely love saying. So first off, I actually first started in politics.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever I was coming from high school into college that I wanted to go into journalism, storytelling, that was all me, especially in front of the camera. However, I didn't know my specific lane at the time. And then at Southern, they're really they stick to news in particular.
Mm-hmm.
So I was going through the news route. However, I was very stagnant with news and politics. I just felt like I couldn't grow at the rate I wanted to, let's put it that
Mm-hmm.
way. And so then from there, I already had a background with sports. My dad's actually a referee. So that's my first introduction to sports.
What's he refereeing?
Yes, Texas. Houston specifically.
Football?
No, basketball.
Okay. I'm a ref. I officiate
really?
Football, high school football, yeah.
Really? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how you have the chapters in between the cities?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my dad is actually the vice president of the Houston chapter.
Okay.
Yeah. So growing up, my normal was going from school to school, watching him ref. So that was my first introduction. And then I also played sports growing up. My brother also, too, a big recruit in basketball in Texas as it is right now. So just mixing all that together, that's whenever I was like, okay, I love sports. I love journalism. Why not combine the two? And that's how sports journalism kind of came into play. And specifically with Pelican, I remember it was my very first time doing any type of sports coverage at the school. And Alan Traylor, who's over Pelican Broadcasting, he was looking at me doing my sideline stand-ups, and he came and he offered me a show right then and there, and it's been going ever since.
That's a good story right there. And the fact that you never know how you're going to sometime get into what I say is, how should I put it? Because it's not like for me, I didn't have a background, political science major, right? Never thought I'd be doing in front of a camera. Never thought I'd be doing anything on the radio. Never thought I'd be doing any of this. So it kind of just came to me one time. I started out sports writing myself. Then it grew from sports writing to doing film. Then it went from film to doing on-camera work. Then it went from on-camera work to my man Reggie Flood. The same way like this. He invited me on one time as a guest because I was doing my thing with my YouTube show. He said, man, I want to invite you on as a guest. All right. So I want to invite you on as a guest again. All right. Now I'm studying all right, pretty cool. Invite you on a guest. Well, I know, hey, you want to be my co-host? I'm like, dude, I don't even have a background in this. I didn't go to school. Everything I'm learning is just right here on the site. So that's the beautiful thing about it. You never know what the journey in life and how it's going to take you. But the good thing about it, you have your head on your shoulders on the right way. And not only that, you're able to do that while you're still in school.
Right. Having
a show. And I see the passion behind it. And that's what, I'm like, let's bring her on. Let's see what she's about. Put it in front of the people so they can be able to see and you can promote what you do. Because to be able to balance that with school as well as following the passion that you have, that is tough. But when you have a vision, when you got goals, you continue to push.
Right. And it's actually crazy to sit there to even talk about it because my story in itself isn't necessarily a normality across the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Since literally, I believe 2 weeks ago made a year that I've been in sports. However, I actually currently have an internship with the NFL. I'm a part of their HBCU Experience program. Then as well as that, I have worked with the Jaguars. I've worked with the Panthers. I've worked with the Rockets. I've worked with the Saints. I've worked with the Pelicans. A couple other teams. And then actually right now, I don't even know if I can necessarily say it on air because I know I signed a confidentiality agreement. But this summer, I actually signed on with ESPN, so I'll be in Bristol this summer.
See, that's the good thing. Now y'all see why she on here this morning, right? She naming off these professional teams. Now she talking about ESPN. Hey, that's the reason why we do this, because it's an opportunity. And when I see people out there, because it was the same way for me, and you know, I talk about it all the time when there's a generation of people that are in this field, because to be honest, there's not a lot of African Americans that are in position in broadcasting. When you look around in the world of broadcast, especially sports, now it's starting to transition because you start to see the age of the podcast. Now, the podcast is basically putting sports broadcasting, and I don't even want to call it broadcasting, sports talk in the hands of former athletes, and it's giving people a better opportunity who have camera and access to internet or Wi-Fi to be able to tell their perspective via YouTube or whatever the platform. But when you look at the mainstream broadcast world, there aren't a lot of African Americans. And so for me, when I look, it's like, who's going to train up the next generation? Who's going to reach back? You know, of course, you got the pinnacle with Stephen A., right? But when you got Stephen A. at the top, how often is he looking down and across the way and saying, you know what, who's next up? You know, and a lot of times what we have is, and I dealt with it, I will say coming up, dealing with what you call the gatekeepers, right? Certain people who are in the positions and they don't quite want to open the door. If they do want you to open the door, you got to do things, right? Certain things, you know, maybe lessen your morals or whatever the case may be. But it's always, and for me, Flood gave me the opportunity to do this show and some other people when I started doing my YouTube, and they just started watching and seeing what I was capable of doing. And that same thing I kind of seen with you. Watching. I've seen you at the scorers table. I've seen you around interviewing, doing your reports. And I started sitting, and then I asked questions. And they like, man, she got a show. She's doing this and doing that. So I'm like, I'm looking and looking. So I reach out, and that's what it's all about, being able to see who's next in line with the talent, and the fact that you just explained all these great things that you're a part of, the internships and working hard, having your own show. That's what it's all about at the end of the day, of showcasing your talent. And hopefully somebody sees it and say, look, maybe we can work together. Maybe let's do some things, or if don't do nothing else, let me put you in front of an audience that I have so they then too can pay attention to what it is that you do.
Right. And then even like people like you, for instance, I respect people like you who actually reach down and see people who are trying to come up in the industry, because when you think about it, whenever you're currently in school, you're trying to get to the next step. Journalism is one of those areas where we're not guaranteed a job a lot of the time. It's very competitive in this field. And so in the times, it's intimidating whenever you're reaching out to these people who have this caliber, who have these titles, who have all this experience. And you're like, hey, I just want a shot. But then again, there's probably 100 other people who are in their LinkedIn DM saying the same thing. I just want a shot.
And sometimes it feels downplayed. Like, because even with myself, I reach out to so many people. I'm a big networker. And I reach out to people. And a lot of times, if it's nothing else, I like constructive criticism. You know, tell me what it is I can improve on, especially if I respect you enough to see you at the level of where you've accomplished things. And a lot of times, you know, even for myself, it just kind of get blew off like, you know, who are you?
Heavy on the constructive criticism, because one of the biggest things I've noticed is that you have to be your number one critic if you want to excel. And so looking back, especially in this space, it was so hard looking and hearing yourself talk for the first time.
Oh, man, listen.
Going back and looking at the film, looking at the reels, and you're like, I really sound like this to other people? That's insane. And so you're picking up like nitpicks and cues that you only notice about yourself. So you're being extra critical, extra hard, versus somebody else is watching. And you're like, no, you're fine. And it's like, no, I can do better. You know, I know what I can do. So it's just funny. That's really all I say.
Yeah, my first film, I did a film. I went down to Jackson, Mississippi when Southern played. This was in, what year was this? 2014. Went in the stands. I interviewed people. It was hostile, too. But I didn't care. I did what I needed to do. Ended up making this great film. I thought it was the greatest thing in the world when I first made it, right? We sat there and produced and edited for about a week, just figuring stuff out. It was my first time on camera. I'm like Ricky Bobby on Talladega Nights. I really didn't know what to do with my hands. I was just kind of, but when I saw it, I said, man, this is the greatest thing I've ever seen. Nowadays, when I go back and look at it, I'm like the teacher with the red marker. I'm just checking this and checking that. So, all right, let's get ready to take a break. We got to pay some bills. We'll come back. You know, Southern University just named a new volleyball coach. Well, if you didn't know, you'll get a chance to meet him. So let's take a break. We'll come back. Stay tuned. More to Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are back. Good morning to everybody. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to our subscribers on YouTube. Be sure that if you did not subscribe, hit that subscribe button. It's free. I don't need your social security number. I don't need your birth certificate. I just need your support, all right? And to our fans and followers on Facebook, good morning to you guys as well watching on the Facebook Live. Good to have you in this morning. And guess what? It is good to have Sydney in here. And now, for the first time here on the Jaguar Journal, Southern University has just named its new head women's volleyball coach, and we want to welcome here to the Jaguar Journal. And good morning to him, Toby Renz. Good morning, Toby.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Coach Renz, what's up?
How you doing?
Welcome to the Jaguar Nation, baby.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
He just got the Baton Rouge, and they're ready to have him working.
Hey, yes, that's what it's all about. Coach, talk to us a little bit. Let's get an introduction of who you are for the people that's out there. That's like, I didn't even know they just hired a new volleyball coach. Who is Coach Renz, the new head women's volleyball coach at Southern University?
Man, a longtime veteran of Division I, and Just a simple guy who grew up in small town Iowa. At the age of, I think it was in ninth grade, I knew I wanted to coach volleyball, and I've been kind of following the dream ever since. And really fortunate because I got a little good at it and opened a lot of doors, and I've been following it since.
You look at your coaching career. What got you into coaching volleyball, Coach?
Probably my sister. We grew up in small town, did a lot of sports together. She was a pitcher in softball. I would catch for her. We'd shoot hoops together, and she kind of made me learn how to pepper. That's kind of the warm-up ball handling in volleyball, if you will. And I fell in love with the game and stuck with it. And, yeah, the rest is history, I guess.
You look at your journey here to Southern University. You're talking about your head coaching experience. Name some of the stops along the way for you, Coach, that ultimately built your resume and now here at Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Probably one that's near and dear to me is my very first head coaching job, and that was at another HBCU and Maryland Eastern Shore, UMES, back in 2001. And I actually worked there twice. And from UMES, I went to Long Island University in Brooklyn. I went from LIU Brooklyn to the University of Pittsburgh as head coach at those institutions as well. And from Pitt, I've also been at Chicago State University, and then I returned to Maryland Eastern Shore. And from UMES, the second time, I went to Georgetown University, and then that's the most recent Division I institution that I've worked at before coming here.
You're talking about Georgetown, the Hoyas, man. Big jump leaving from Georgetown to coming to Southern. What was that transition in between from Georgetown to coming here?
I had two other stops. I coached a Division III women's program in upstate New York. It just wasn't the same. Needed craved a lot more of the intensity and action in the recruiting process, and just in Division III, you really can't work with the student athletes in the spring, so it's hard to develop talent. I also was the head coach this past year for a men's program at Morningside University back in Iowa, where I graduated. So I came to Southern right from there.
So, Coach, I'm seeing here, here in the past, the women's volleyball team at Southern, 9-16 overall, 7-9 in conference. So what are you planning to do differently to change the system that's been basically here for 15 years?
Yeah, at the end of the day, I think at other institutions, I'll focus on a lot of the same things, and I think that's developing people, developing the talent, and developing relationships with people on campus. I think is really important to develop the program as a whole. But largely it's recruiting. It's going after. That's our lifeline as coaches, and I'll be going back to the well. With other contacts that I have from a recruiting standpoint. And that's kind of nationally. I certainly want to get the best talent that Louisiana has to offer, because I think that's imperative for a fan base. But we're going to go after anybody that's going to be able to help us take it to the next level.
Coach, I got to ask you, when you look at the world of volleyball, right, let's just say for me, I would have to read a book, Volleyball for Dummies, if I wanted to be a coach, because I don't quite understand. I took intramural volleyball one time early on in college. But for people out there who don't quite understand volleyball, aside from just watching it in stands, what does it take for a successful volleyball program to take off, and what does recruiting look like? How do you evaluate talent when you're looking at volleyball student athletes?
So much of it's by position. Maybe it's hardly a fair comparison with basketball, but each position has got to bring a different skill set. In volleyball, a libero position is somebody that only plays the back row, and that's the different colored jersey that you see coming and going off the court. That's got to be a highly skilled position, where they're serving, passing, and playing defense at an elite level. And then the second position that's probably most critical is setting, if not the first, I would say. The setter is kind of your quarterback of the team. And they really have to be the brains of the team and run the offense and execute things. And then outside hitters are a little more skilled, the ball control, the first contact, the middle hitters, and right side kind of have to be the thugs of the team, where they got to be point stoppers and really good defenders against the other team.
I got to ask, now that you're in Louisiana, have they fed you yet, Coach? Have you had the crawfish? Have you had the etouffee? Have you had the jambalaya? I mean, what has the cultural experience been for you like, Coach?
It's good. I've have not had crawfish yet, and
just wait. They're gonna load you up. Just wait.
Yeah. Kind of knew that coming into it. I had been to Louisiana a few times, both Baton Rouge and New Orleans, and had some good food before. So I knew I was in for a treat.
I got to ask you this: when you look at the SWAC and you look at volleyball across the conference, from your assessment, when you look at this conference, where does the state of volleyball? And I want to ask, because we talk so much about the transfer portal with the way that it affects other sports. What does the transfer portal look like exactly for when you look at this level of volleyball across the SWAC landscape also?
Right now, I'm loving the transfer portal, to be honest. Not that we're going to be going after and buying talent, but bringing people in with experience, a different perspective, if you will, a little more seasoned veteran. I've been assessing a lot of video, and people that might bring something special to the team to kind of enhance what we already have, and are bringing the talent in the gym to a different level.
So looking at what the team has done in the past, what is the number one thing that you plan on changing, or you feel like you need to hone in to have a successful volleyball season?
Oh, good question. I would say that it always comes down to kind of ball control, and reducing our errors and keeping the ball in play is so key. And in volleyball, we talk often about that first contact. So we're going to have a ton of repetition and focus on that first contact. First contact when we serve the ball and initiate into play. I really like to put teams on the defensive right away. I've been fortunate enough, I've had a couple of teams in the past that finished first in the country in ace serves per game. And that's that first contact that I'm talking about. So we put a lot of focus on that. And then the passing piece of it. If we can get better and better at the serve-receive part of it, where we're, putting teams on the defensive or making us better offensively by having a lot of options. If the setter does not have to move much on that serve-receive ball, that first contact, the better that is, the more successful we are. And there's no magic sauce to it. I wish there was, but it's a lot of hard work, a lot of repetitions, and trying to get a little bit better every day.
See, and I'm glad you actually said that, because I used to play volleyball in the past.
Oh,
so I 100% understand. The minute that ball, right, the minute that ball comes over that net, if your serve receive isn't good, you're completely out of position, and it just makes the setter's job hard, and it's just hard to get a pass and play.
Oh yeah, then
so I completely understand, and I'm glad you touched on that.
Mm-hmm.
And here I am, only good. I play some beach volleyball. Look, that's all I got for you.
See, I used to play liberos.
Hey, I just found our first two fans,
Oh, yeah, you got us. And there are hopefully more fans out there that's listening. And before we get ready to let you go, Coach, let the fans out there that are listening, if you need anything for the program, whether it's donations, whether it's whatever to help with the program, take it to the next level under your leadership, how can folks reach you, and how can they be a part of being able to take this volleyball team to the next level with you?
Well, I'll probably back up there and just Mr. Banks has been phenomenal in this whole process, and AD Banks and the search team, the committee. I call them a search team because we're in athletics, But they've been awesome. They've got a vision as well, and I'd say it's a shared vision for how we want to shape and mold this program. And I'm super excited about it because we have an old building that can be a pretty special place, and we're going to put some lipstick on that pig and, make it a great place to play and make it as hard as possible for our opponents to come in and get a win.
Well, and for everybody that's just tuning in, that is the voice of Coach Toby Wren, Southern University women's volleyball coach, just being named to the position yesterday, being approved at the Southern University board meeting. Coach, it's great to have you on. Guess what? Do not be a stranger. I got your number. We can communicate. Anytime you need anything for the program, you want to come on, talk about the student athletes, talk about the schedule, talk about whatever you guys need, man, don't hesitate. Let me know. It's always open for you.
Really appreciate that. Thank you so much, you guys.
All right,
Thank you.
All right, everybody, let's get ready to take a break. When we come back, we'll have Coach Crenshaw of Southern University, head baseball coach, talk about the big victory yesterday and talk about the matchups that they're going to have over the weekend over in Houston. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be right back more to Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope and healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are back. Good morning to everybody out there. This is the Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White, joined with Sydney here in the studio with me today.
Good morning.
All right, let's keep it rolling. Thank you for Coach Toby Renz coming on, Southern University, new women's volleyball coach coming on. Introduction to him. Won't be his last time here, but I'm going to tell you who's not his first time here on the show. Southern University head baseball coach, my guy, Coach Crenshaw. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning.
How you feeling, man?
Thank you for having me on. Feeling all right. We want to know. So.
Hey, every coach say that's all we're trying to go is just go 1-0, okay? So that's a good start. Yeah. You guys are over in Houston this weekend taking on different HBCU teams from around the conference in the Cactus Jack HBCU Classic. Yesterday, you guys knocked down Alcorn. A good day anytime, because my boy G out there always talk about the big, bad Braves. Yeah, they the sad Braves out there yesterday. You guys knocked them down 10-4. Coach, let's talk about your team starting the season 1-0, taking on a conference team that you know well, but most of all, the performance that your team had to be able to put up 10 runs and bring them on in. Talk about what you saw in evaluating your team after game one.
We put the ball in play. We didn't have a whole bunch of strikeouts. And then we stole 6 bags as a team, or stole 6 bases as a team. And that's always good. And then guys came through with runners in scoring position. The 2 pitches we put out there, they did good against strike one, kept them off balance. And that was good for us to come out on top yesterday.
You know, you talk about jumping out to a 4-1 lead over Alcorn before giving up 3 runs in the top of the third and then tying the game all at 4. But then you went scoreless for 2 straight innings before you started getting things going again. When I look at this team and what it seems to be the biggest circle mark for you of improvement coming into this year from last year's team?
This year's team, they just have to get more experience. We got a good group of guys that's been here for a while. They haven't been the main guys until now. So just got to get those guys out there, get them comfortable, and I think we'll be okay.
I know as you continue the Invitational, you're playing against Grambling and Texas Southern, which is another really good team. So how are you planning to combat those pretty good rosters as well?
Today we got Graham. We just can't get emotional. We got to keep playing, keep making plays, and just believe in what we've been working on since August, trying to build a good team and trust one another.
You know,
and then Texas Southern, we just got to be prepared for anything. Coach Mike Robb, he got all the tricks in his book. He's been around the longest, so he always has his team ready to go.
You look at Texas Southern, Grambling, as well as Alcorn, all Western Division foes. Grambling is always a tough out, and let me tell you, them Jaguar fans love to get a victory over Grambling no matter what sport is in. But you talk about Texas Southern being one of those tough teams. Overall, when you look at this experience of the Cactus Jack HBCU Classic, Coach, for you, to be able to have this platform for your team to be able to play over in Houston with the type of visibility that you guys have, what is it about this Classic that drew you guys back, and what do you like about it?
I like that we get to play in the big league stadium. Everybody's goal and dream is to be a big league, and for 3 days they get to be one. Outside of playing the teams in our conference, that's about the only thing that I don't like about it. But other than that, everything else is fine. They bring us in, do a big banquet. Then they let us go to the celebrity softball game. They give us credentials where we can get close and be down on the field. And it's just a good overall experience outside of playing the teams in our league.
So you said looking at this game overall because you're playing conference teams, you'd rather play some teams out of conference.
Yeah. I mean, but it's set up. That's how they do it. I agreed to play in it, so it can't be too bad. But I would much rather play somebody that I didn't have to play 6 times already.
Well, we see that with the Andre Dawson Classic also coming up, you'll be playing North Carolina A&T. Is that a matchup you're looking forward to?
I ain't got that far down the schedule yet.
He's just trying to go 1-0.
Right.
But the Andre Dawson tournament is exciting for me. Growing up, I was an Andre Dawson fan. The Cubs were always on TV where I'm from, so I got to see him play a lot. And then we get to play 3 teams that's not in our side. We play A&T, FAM, and Alabama State. So that's 2 teams on the East, and then it's an out-of-conference opponent, which is always a good measuring stick for us to play.
This year, the Andre Dawson Classic moving to Vero Beach, Florida. Typically, I remember those games of the Classic down in New Orleans. But one thing I used to like about them, because it's Black History Month, I used to like those Negro League jerseys that they would wear during the game. Are you guys planning on bringing those back?
Yeah, we're going to wear them. We might wear them twice this year. I know I talked to the Prairie View's coach about wearing them when they come play us. And I got to find another team to play. Coach Kadar been on me about wearing them.
You got to wear the jerseys. you got to wear the jerseys, Crenshaw.
Yeah, it's good for the game, he said.
So Coach,
we're gonna find a way to get them in.
With over 170 wins in your 5 years you've been at Southern, what do you attribute your success to?
It's all the kids. They trust what we're teaching them and trying to get them to do. They go out and perform. Sometimes they perform like we want them to. Sometimes they don't. That's a part of it. But it's all about the kids for me.
You talk about the kids. You look at what you brought in this year. I had you on earlier as you guys got ready to start the season. Start talking about some of the guys that you're looking for to be playmakers for this team, and give us some names from the different positions.
Quincy Smith, outfielder. Tyler Hawkins, outfielder. Sadir Ryan, he's the catcher, freshman. Jacoby Radcliffe, outfielder. Caleb Tart. And it'll be a different lineup today. We'll get Donnie Sanford in there, and then probably Dominic Joseph. He's a catcher. Get those two in the game today. They didn't play yesterday, so get them out there, get their feet wet against Grambling, and see how they handle that.
You have any relationships with these guys? I know you play them so much, and you're tired of seeing them, especially to start the season. But what is your relationship like? You see these coaches, you guys agree to play in this classic to bring awareness to HBCU baseball, put it on a big stage. What do you guys talk about amongst yourself if you do have conversation?
I guess I have a good working relationship with some of the guys in the league. But the conversations is just about what we expect the opening weekend. Some guys have really high expectations, some don't. For me, I just want my kids to go out and play hard. The expectations to take care of themselves.
See, Coach, I'm looking at the roster, and I'm seeing, like you just mentioned, Ryan Sadir out of Decatur, Georgia, and you have Quincy Smith, Los Angeles, California. How big is your out-of-state recruiting, and how does that play into what you bring to the season and what you bring against these other teams?
The out-of-state recruiting is big. Louisiana baseball is good, but you can only find so many players that can help you. Out-of-state there's a big market in California, Georgia as well, of high baseball players, of African-American kids. But being able to go out to Georgia and watch games, travel to the West Coast to watch games, you get to see kids from all over. So, and we got a couple of our largest alumni bases is in California, Georgia, and Texas.
All right, lastly, before we get ready to let you go, Coach, you look at today's opponent in Grambling State. What do you see that they do in terms of compare and contrast to your program that could possibly either give you fits or give you a victory?
We just got to show up and play. Baseball is baseball. It don't matter how you dress it up. You still got to throw it over the plate, catch ground balls, get timely hits. So hopefully we go out and do that today, and we go 1-0 again.
Baseball is baseball, man. Listen, I have these conversations with Coach Roger Kadar all the time, and it is baseball is baseball. He said it's nothing but repetition. It's simple. Catch the ball, throw the ball, get it where it needs to go, hit the ball. It shouldn't be much harder than that. You just got to practice the repetition over and over and over. So I feel you when you say baseball is baseball. Good luck to you guys today, Coach. Glad that you came on this morning. It was good to have you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on.
Thank you,
all right.
Coach.
That is the voice of Coach.
We'll do it again tomorrow after a win.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Look,
sir.
I text you too. I'm gonna hit you up. All right. That is the voice of Coach Chris Crenshaw, Southern University head baseball coach. Thank him for coming on. They're over in Houston, Texas this week for the Cactus Jack HBCU Classic. So if you're listening, you're in the Houston area today, Go get you a ticket. Go support some HBCU baseball. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back. We'll continue the conversation. Stay tuned more to Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in Healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I hope you guys are getting your Saturday started right, going to wash. Well, it's a little cold. You may not be washing your car, but somebody out there washing their car this morning because they trying to hit the block, make sure that thing clean. Good morning to you. Good morning to everybody on YouTube. Be sure to go hit that subscribe button. It's free. It don't cost you anything, right? I don't want your credit card, debit card. I don't want your Social Security. I don't want your birth certificate. I don't even need to know your kid's name, right? I don't even need to know your name. Just hit the subscribe button. That's all we ask for, support. And go follow us if you haven't already on the Jaguar Journal Facebook page. And good morning to everybody that's watching on the Jaguar Journal Facebook Live. I got Sydney in the building with me this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. I have loved being on this show thus far. Like, when I'm telling you need to bring me back, this needs to be an ongoing relationship.
This is what we're trying to see, Sydney. You know, I've been watching you around. Sydney's a student at Southern University, and she's been doing her thing with the sports. She's all around. And, I mean, I saw you doing your thing. She has a TV show. Tell the people out there about your TV show and how can they follow you if this is their first time hearing your voice.
Yes, so my name is Sydney Cuillier. I also go by the moniker The Sports Journalist. That's just my little personal touch. So I have a show here in Louisiana. It shows in all the major cities and Eunice and all the smaller cities as well, too. So, of course, if you're in that market, we got you. It's called Cities on the Clock. I have my co-host. His name is Chris Williams. We film every Tuesdays. We show about 3-4 days throughout the week on the Pelican Broadcasting Channel, which can be shown on Cox 11, AT&T 20, and anything of the such. Literally, if you're a sports lover, if you love talking about sports media, entertainment, that's exactly what we do. All day, every day. Different people come up on the show. We'll have different interviews. We'll talk professional, collegiate, high school sometimes, barely, but we touch on just about everything.
And she's a student. You see all this stuff she's balancing. And I caught her a couple times at the basketball games. Now, football season, I'm kind of all over the place. So if you was doing something during football season, I kind of missed it. But basketball season, I saw you doing your report. I saw you. Then when I asked about you, somebody sent me your YouTube channel because your show is also broadcast and put on YouTube as well. So started watching. I said, man, look, I know what it's like. I remember being that young dude with the talent, just trying to get out here and get it done and get seen, and hopefully somebody see me want to work with me. So I said, let's what? You know what? And I've been hitting you up, probably about 2-3 weeks now.
Yes, been busy. I'm not going to lie. I have a lot going on, too, because besides the show, like I had mentioned on the earlier segment, I also work with the NFL right now. I actually just signed on with ESPN. I've worked with a whole bunch of teams in the league, even though it's been a very fast-paced year, but it's been a great year nonetheless. So I'm on the go all the time. So I was glad I was able to, like this Saturday, I didn't have too much going.
And thank you for taking the time to come on. Hey, I was on time this morning, Mike. Mike was surprised. He was like, bro, what? You actually here early? Yes, I was here early just because of you, Miss Sydney. So you got me online. You got me on track. I'm doing what I'm supposed to do because normally, Mike, I show up right when it's time to, he like, let's roll. So.
Then I guess what, Perry? You want to know something funny?
What you want to know?
So you know how Perry just said that he's everywhere around when it comes to football season? Me and Perry actually sat down and had a whole conversation football season. I don't even think you remember it.
Well, I just want everybody to subscribe to our YouTube channel and be sure to follow us on Facebook because, hey, this is good content. Get a chance to meet this young lady. I told you, football season, hey, just kind of be everywhere.
Look, that's why I didn't hold it against you.
Hey.
You were literally walking around. He was going from place to place to place. I was like, I'm not going to hold him up.
Don't be telling my business, Sydney. Don't be telling my business. Mike, what we got going on at the 8 o'clock hour? You know what we got going on? We got Charlie Neal, HBCU Go TV coming on. He's going to talk to us about some SWAC basketball. I know that's what you're ready to talk about. You want to dive deep into some SWAC basketball. Right. Talk about Southern, who right now on the men's side leading the way, right? Number one on the men's side. Grambling failed last week with a game. Then on the women's side, man, Southern women, they're kind of like a seesaw right now. They're up and down. They'll show up. So far, they've given Jackson State women's team the best run for their money of any other team in the conference thus far. But as you continue to look around the landscape, things are shaping up. We're on the second side of this conference schedule. So now you're starting to see the repeat of teams. And guess what? Southern is on the road in Houston, not only for baseball, but as well as men and women's basketball. Prairie View and Texas Southern on today and Monday. But nonetheless, Sydney, tell the people where they can find you.
So you can find me on Instagram at Sydney Cuillier, or if you want to watch the show, search up Pelican Broadcasting on YouTube. You will see Sydney's on the Clock. If you literally search up Sydney's on the Clock, you'll show up. Search me on Google, I'll show up. So that's where to reach me.
Sydney trying to tell my business on here, folks. I try to maneuver around, but just nonetheless, I want to say that I appreciate your hard work. I noticed it, right? And we talked about this earlier in the show. It's always feel good when somebody does notice the work. And look, I'm not through the door. I just do what I could do the same way you're doing what you could do. Right. But we had to start somewhere. In my era, there was no opportunity at television, so I jumped on YouTube with my boy Garrett Edgerton. He and I started doing this On the Yard show and kind of took it off. I went with a vision. He said, you know what, let's put it together. And we took that. But my man Flood saw me and gave me an opportunity to do radio. Now, for me, I didn't go to school for none of this. I didn't go to school, and that's why I'm a little unorthodox on how I handle and come across. And I don't consider myself a journalist, but I have been given the title and dubbed a journalist. So I guess I am a journalist in my own perspective way, but I don't follow certain things that have been taught in school because I didn't learn it in school. I had to learn it, what they say, on the fly. They just basically gave me the shovel and said, get to digging. I had to figure it out as I started digging. But For you seeing, and how long we got, Mike, before we go to a break? We got 2 minutes. For you, what have you learned, especially being a student at Southern, in this field to continue to get you to excel the way that you're doing with your own show, working with the NFL, and then ultimately with ESPN?
So really the biggest thing that I have noticed is it doesn't matter what point you're in, if you've been in here the game for 10 years, you've been in the game for 10 months. You always have to be a student of the game at the end of the day. You have to continuously do the work, do the research, figure out how to get better, how to enunciate better, how to announce better, what's going on with the teams, what's going on in terms of conference play. Being able to sit there and learn and be open to learning is the biggest thing, because even being with you, I'm learning things right now. You'll never know what could come up. And then also too, noticing too, like you said, we talked earlier, networking is your network.
That's it.
Your network is your network. In this, especially in this field, is one of those things where everybody does the same thing. Of course, everybody has their own quirks, their own differences of what makes somebody stand out. But essentially, everybody's good at what we do. We talk for a living. That's exactly what we do. If you have the voice for it, you can hold a conversation, you're going to go pretty far. However, it's not about what you know, because again, we all know the same thing. It's about who you know.
That's it.
It's about who can you talk to put you in them places, who can speak to you and who can attest to you in rooms that you're not a part of. And that's one of the biggest things that I've learned. And then also too, networking laterally as well too. You'll never know. There'll be people who at other schools too. Some of the opportunities that I've been able to actually been fortunate enough to have has been because, let's say, somebody at Morehouse, somebody at FAM, somebody at Howard's, like, hey, there's a student at Southern. We see her. She's coming up. We want to bring her on. I want to give you this opportunity. So really, it's a community.
Let me tell you something. I've probably made all my elementary school teachers happy and proud now, because I used to get in trouble for talking excessively.
Oh, yes.
So now I put it to something. Now I talk on the radio. So thank you guys for talking excessively. I knew one day I will put it to good work. Like, I got to put this to work because we got to pay some bills. That means we got to take a break. So when we come back, we're going to have my man Charlie Neal of HBCU Go TV. You know he's the legend. We got to bring him on with that wonderful voice and talk about some SWAC basketball, men and women, see how things are shaping up around the conference. And while we do that, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel. Follow us on our Facebook channel. And good morning to everybody in the Baton Rouge area listening on 107.3. Good morning to everybody up in Alexandria and down in New Orleans. Good to have you. And everybody else listening around the world, stay tuned. We'll be back. It's more the Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are back. It is the top of the hour. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there. I hope you guys are having a great morning. Good morning to our affiliates over in Alexandria, Louisiana, down in New Orleans. Good morning, Mardi Gras. Y'all finally get a chance to rest, chill, I walked 13 miles between last Saturday and Sunday. Look, I don't want to see another parade unless it's a championship parade somewhere, all right?
That's
so
right. Good
morning to everybody over there. Joined with Sydney here in the studio with me this morning. We getting it rocking and rolling, and we got to keep it going because my man Charlie Neal is on the line. Good morning, Charlie.
Nobody will satisfy.
How are you, Perry?
Doing
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
That's Sydney over here now. I don't want you to think my voice didn't change or nothing.
You do a heck of an impression.
You know what? Voice actor, right? It's funny you said it because this morning I'm on Twitter. I'm just now getting back on Twitter. I saw the person who does Bart Simpson's voice on The Simpsons does like 7 of the characters on The Simpsons, and I never even knew it was a woman that did all those voices.
That's pretty good.
Very good.
Talented. Yes.
And you talking about your voice. Look, that immaculate voice of yours, angelic, been calling games. HBCU Go TV has been on the beat this year. Talk to us about what that journey is like so far this year of the different places you guys have been going in the games, the arenas, and just the talent you've been able to see across the conference.
Well, it's been great, to be honest with you. And, you couldn't ask for any better situation to be able to go into these historically black colleges and universities, whether it's the SWAC or the CIAA or the SIC, wherever, and bring to the viewing audience what these young student athletes are able to accomplish, not only on the basketball court, but also in the classroom, because they are true student athletes. So it's very important to be able to go out and tell their stories and showcase and highlight their accomplishments.
Now, I've been watching you as the HBCU Go TV broadcast has been going. Where are you guys at today?
I'm in Huntsville, Alabama. I have Mississippi Valley and Alabama A&M doubleheader. Of course, on the men's side, Mississippi Valley still looking for their first win of the season. Mm-hmm. They're 0-24, but more importantly, hanging out with the team yesterday a little bit at their practice and with Coach George Ivory. You would not know by looking at that team and their enthusiasm and their camaraderie and their attitude that they have not won a game this season. And I'm looking, I don't know whether they'll come away with a victory today, but I'm thinking this might be the day that they get their first win of the season. On the ladies side is almost the same thing. They've only won 2 games this season. But again, they will play Alabama A&M very tough. I expect a good game from both of these squads, from both teams, from both Mississippi Valley squads. Of course, people may not know, but the top scorer for Alabama A&M is out today. So he will not play. He suffered an injury earlier in the week in practice. Not in practice, I'm sorry. He suffered an ACL tear a couple weeks ago against Bethune-Cookman. Dalen Smith is his name, and he was their leading scorer. So he's out. So that maybe gives Mississippi Valley an opportunity.
Charlie, I got to talk to you about George Ivory. I remember him, who, of course, he's at Valley. Now, I remember during his days at being the head coach at UAPB. He won the SWAC championship in 2010, beat Winthrop in that first 4-game in, and then they ultimately went on to take on Duke in Jacksonville, Florida, in that opening round. That was the year Duke actually won the national title. So he returned. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, you're right. Won the national championship. Go ahead.
Yeah, he returned and went back to Mississippi. UAPB ultimately ended up moving in a different direction. But when you look at his program, and for you, when you're doing a national broadcasting, let's say you have a team in that position who has not won a game yet this season, how hard as a broadcaster is it to kind of keep people, the viewership, enthused? Are you selling the point that this could be the first win? Because I look back at when the Detroit Pistons were kind of going on that long losing streak, and it seemed like every game started to be tuned in to say, are they going to break the streak this game? So for you on the broadcasting side, you look at a team like Valley in the situation that they're in. How do you kind of work that to keep people entertained?
Well, first of all, you don't bring it up at the beginning of the game so much.
They haven't won a game yet.
You don't want people to say, well, why are we watching this game? So you always try to find, first of all, at the beginning, the positives that come out of it. You look at it from that perspective. As far as the game itself, once they tip the ball off, you can't control how the team plays and what they do. But if the team's giving an effort and playing well, yeah, sometimes they're going to have a mistake here. They're going to turn the ball over when they shouldn't. They're going to miss free throws, things of this nature. That is something you have no control over. And people can see, and you try to always put a positive spin on it. I mean, reality also sometimes sets in, and you can't help but talk about what is actually happening. You can't paint a picture, a pretty picture, when there's nothing pretty to paint. But again, you try to give these young people and the school lead the viewing audience with some positives out of it. You know, yes, you're losing, but you know you've only the conference losses, 7-year SWAC conference losses. You know, as far as Mississippi Valley's men are concerned, they're 0-11 in the conference. 7 of those 11 losses were about a total of 55 points.
Yeah,
so that means they're in those games. They're losing by an average of 7 points, so they could very well be 7-4 as opposed to 0-11. So that's what you try to do. You try to put that type of spin on, and you give the positives that could come out of it.
Yeah. Sydney, want to jump in on this?
Yes. So just to quickly change the course of the conversation real quick, I don't think people at home understand how the legendary who Charlie Neal is, the person who we have on the other end of the phone right now. I mean, BET, working with Turner Sports, working with MEAC Digital Network. There is so much that you have actually done in this industry. So me, myself, I am a sports journalist coming up, and I am currently in school. What is some advice do you have for those currently entering the industry right now?
Just work hard. Take advantage of all the opportunities that come your way. And even, you know, use any setbacks you may feel as a setback. Use it as a road, a learning tool, I should say, on the road to what you're trying to achieve. I think that's very, very important because, you know, we don't always get what we are hoping for. But like I tell people all the time, take advantage of the opportunity no matter what it is. If you get an opportunity to work at a radio or TV station and they all they want you to do is empty the trash basket, do that because you're on the inside. And if you're on the inside, people at least know who you are. But when you're on the outside and you say, well, I don't want that job because, you know, that's not what I want to do. Mm-hmm. But sometimes you have to take a step back in order to take 2 steps forward. So that's very, very important. I think that's important to maintain in terms of your mental attitude toward the profession. The profession is not always kind. People that make decisions, let me put it this way, a lot of people that make decisions they look at it from, I don't like the way she wears her hair. I don't like the way his beard. You know, they become subjective in terms of their attitude. It has nothing to do with your ability. They look at every little thing that maybe is a sore point as far as their life is concerned. And sometimes you have to take that bitter with the sweet. I remember one time at a TV station when I was working in Detroit, and the news director came to me and he said, well, I think you're not as funny as you should be. Well, I'm not a jokester. You know, so, you know, that's not my job. You didn't hire me to be a comedian. You hired me to do sports. And this is the way I do it. Yes, there's some sportscasters who were able to blend a comedy act within their sports delivery. But that was their natural ability, and they did a good job at it. I'm not knocking them. I'm just saying that was not me. When you hired me, my audition reel didn't have me telling any kind of jokes. So, therefore, accept me for who I am. And that's what you have to do. Be you. Don't try to be somebody else. Go out and be the best you can be.
Charlie, I got to ask you this question before we get ready to let you go. You look at the world of broadcast, right? You've been in it for a long time, from the 80s all the way through. You just won an award here this past year. When you look at the coverage of HBCU sports over the decades and decades that you've been around, how have you seen it continuously progress? And what ways do you believe that we can continue to improve the way that we project and put our HBCU sports and our student athletes and our institutions and conferences out there, that we can get better? And can we get better?
Well, the schools themselves do a good job of promoting what they have, and that's important. The big thing is in recent years, as you know, it's probably in the last 4 or 5 years, and especially even after Deion came over to Jackson State, the interest that HBCUs picked up from a national audience. We're not talking about just African American community, but just people in general. And so you find a bigger cross section of people watching historically black colleges and universities, and the outlets with HBCU Go and ESPN, between the two of us actually putting them out there to be seen, is nothing but a windfall for these schools and for these conferences to bring an awareness to what's happening at historically black colleges and universities. For example, today at Alabama A&M, they're calling it a Pink Game Day, as they bring awareness to breast cancer. So they do these types of things, and we bring those things out to the viewing audience. That it's not just a basketball game, but it has more meaning than just two teams playing against each other. So again, it's very, very important that people understand. They tune in, they watch, and they promote. You know, one of the biggest, I guess, Achilles heels for historically black colleges and universities is not so much that the opportunities are not there for them to be seen, but how much are the alumni, people who went to these schools, pushing and giving back to these universities and institutions. We know that HBCUs are not sitting on a mine, a multi-million-dollar gold mine, is what I meant to say. And, you know, they need all the support. They need help from the community. They need help from the alumni. You know, you need to go to the game, promote the games, be in the stands, be in the audience, be in the arenas. You know, they'll come to homecoming, but what happens the rest of the season?
Right.
So, I mean, these are the types of things that I'm talking about. That, you know, it's not just in you know, on the TV networks to put the teams out there, but it's on the community, and it's also on the alumni to make sure that these teams are ready financially to do what they need to do.
Sound like you know something, Charlie Neal, and that's why you the legend, man. You've been around. You've seen, especially when you talk about the facilities in the SWAC. You've been around a long time to watch the early years of the facilities around the SWAC. I'm talking about wasn't much of nothing compared to, like you said, at Alabama A&M today.
A whole new facility.
Yeah, you look at their basketball facility. You start talking about the football facilities around the conference wing. That's why you had a lot of these opportunities to play these classics in these big cities around the conference. I mean, around the country, because a lot of times I can remember being back in the days of UAPB. That stadium was so small. I think held probably about 4,000. They will always have to go to Little Rock to play at War Memorial and do games like that. So the upgrades are coming, and you're starting to see it, especially with the facilities around the conference.
Yeah, I was kind of interesting you said that, because yesterday I was over at shoot-around and practice for the teams. Well, at 6 o'clock yesterday evening, there was both the women from Mississippi Valley and the men from Alabama A&M were scheduled to practice. Well, they let the women from Mississippi Valley play at their new event center, which just opened a year ago. The men went over and practiced at the old Elmore gym. Well, I went over there and watched them practice, and I had never been in that gym before. I said, no wonder they moved out of it. And I can understand it. But again, as you said, the schools are upgrading the facilities. Alabama State has a fairly new football stadium. They used to play all their games downtown at the city stadium.
Yep.
You know, of course, Bethune's still playing at the city stadium, but it's a decent facility. Bethune needs to increase and do something with their basketball arena. They probably have one of the not the best arena in the SWAC. Mississippi Valley has a very nice basketball arena. A lot of people don't believe that unless you've been on that campus and seen it. Mississippi Valley has a very nice basketball arena. We know there in Baton Rouge that dome, that Southern's had that dome for years, but it still looks good when you go inside. You know, that's important. They've done a good job of maintaining it and maintaining the aesthetics and its look when you walk inside.
You know, Charlie, before we get ready to let you go, this young lady that's with me today, Sydney, she said you guys met when you came and did the broadcast here. She got your number. I told her, man, you better put that number to work with this legendary guy, Charlie Neal, and work your way in the business, because she's up and coming. She's up and coming.
I'll be there in 2 weeks, so we'll get a chance to meet again. when Southern plays Bethune-Cookman.
Oh, okay. And I'm actually covering that game as well, too. So we had a wonderful conversation when we talked. So, of course, we can actually put a face to a name again whenever we see each other.
Well, very good, Sydney. I look forward to it.
I look forward to it as well. Thank you.
Charlie, before I get ready to let you go, I always got to ask you to do it. Back in your radio broadcast days, I got to get you to do your call. Can you do it one time for me?
You mean to get it with the heat of the big boss with the big hot sauce, rocking the big TikTok and the big power towel? We'll do it up until the hour of 6 o'clock.
My man, Charlie Neal, you can't confuse that voice with nobody else in the world. Thank you, Charlie Neal, for coming on this morning and joining us.
All right, Barry, Sydney, y'all be good. Have a good day.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All right, let's get ready to take a break. We come back. Sydney and I are going to talk some SWAC men and women basketball, break down the standings, look at some games of last week, and tell you what's looking for today and Monday. So y'all stay tuned. We'll be back more to Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
All right, we're back more to Jaguar Journal. I'm Perry White. Sydney in the building with us today.
Hi, y'all.
And we got Flood. Flood, what's up?
Nobody will.
Is he still there? There you go, Flood. Is he there? There you go, Flood.
What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, I'm like the old head on the phone. Flood, you there? I'm like with the Bluetooth in my ear. Flood, can you hear me?
Is that you, Chuck? Can you hear me, Chuck?
Can you hear me, Chuck? Flood, is that you there?
I'm in here. What's going on, P. White?
Man, good to have you back, man.
Man, I had to come in for a minute. I'm gonna be back full time next week, man. But I had to come in for a minute on this day to say hello to the people and find out what was going on. Hard to follow up the legendary Charlie Neal, though.
I hear your voice. You're trying to get it there, Flood. Your voice, you're trying to get it there.
Oh, man, I do what I can.
Did you hear that call sign he did at the end?
Yes, I did. I heard it.
You got one for us? Give us one.
Oh, man, I don't get down like that. I'm a sports commentator. I'm not about to even try to follow up the legendary Charlie Neal.
Hey, I said, let's see what Flood got. Let's see what he got.
Nah, I'm not about to try to follow up the legendary Charlie Neal. That's how I lasted as long as I've lasted. I know my place.
That's all right, Flood. How you been, man? What's going on? Let the people know. They asked me, man, where Flood at?
Man, things have been. I had some family things going on, and I just had to take a little break. Sometimes you have to step away. It's been 12 years on the journal, so I had to take a little break. But I'm coming back now. Good, in a good place, coming back, ready to do the thing. But I've been around now. I didn't disappear. I've been around. I've been seeing the people, and even took a little break from social media in terms of doing lives and stuff. But I've been seeing the people, been talking to the people, still involved, still around. So I'm ready to come back and do the journal and do what we do.
Sydney, this Unc, everybody calls Shannon Sharp Unc. This Unc right here, Sydney. So you got to say what's up.
How you doing,
yourself to Unc.
Hi, Unc. My name is Sydney Cuillier. I am a student journalist, but I also have my own show that broadcasts all over the state of Louisiana called Sydney's on the Clock.
Okay, Sydney, I'm going to have to check you out.
Please do.
It's good to meet you.
It's nice to meet you as well.
Yeah,
so you're up bright and early at 8:25.
I'm the journal 7 to 9, so I try to get up. I was gonna call in the 7 o'clock hour, but I took advantage of this sleep in and this weather, so I was chilling. But I try to be up early in the morning. Next week I'll be up at full speed.
Look, first thing she asked me when she came, she said, "Are you always do this show this early?" I said, "Yeah." So one day when you get big, you got that morning drive time radio show. You got to be up about 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning.
That's right. You got to be up 3, 4 in the morning to hit the morning. See, I do the journal is in the mornings on Saturday, but I go 5 days a week in the afternoon drive here in New Orleans. So it's an everyday affair for me.
Yeah,
I'm on 7 days a week.
I had told Perry when we first walked in that I actually turned my alarm off about 2-3 times this morning, but I made it on time. I was here with a decent enough time, was I not?
Yeah, she almost beat me here for one. Hey, look. And even Mike was surprised when he saw me this morning because, I ain't going to tell him myself. But normally, I'm kind of pushing. But Mike was like, wait, you early? I say, man, I got to have a good impression today. We got a guest in the house. So,
I was about to say you got a guest in the house.
The last thing you want the guest to do is call you and say, where are you at? Oh, I'm down the street. I'll be there in a minute. So, that's the thing about it. And thank you for coming in. Sydney's a young lady, Flood. I told her basically like what you did with me, man. You brought me in, you gave me an opportunity, and for that, I'm forever thankful because I didn't have a background in this, but she's a young lady who is growing and learning with a background of ultimately growing in this field, and I've seen her work and doing her thing, and to have a television show and doing the things that she's doing, and still a junior in college, man, she's rocking and rolling with it.
Yeah, she is, man, and that's one of the great things about today's world is having that availability to create your own. And create your own space. And good to see somebody taking advantage of that and prospering while they're doing it and while they're learning their craft, man, and learning their passion. And that's a beautiful thing. I love to see it. That's the goal. That, for me, that was the goal for the next generation to set it up so it becomes bigger and better. By the way, I don't want to make it seem like I'm too old. I'm still in the game, getting ready to launch a new show Sunday. Getting ready to launch a new show with HBCU sports, Media One, TV One. We launching a new show Sunday. It'll be called the Big Time Sports Show, my show. So that'll be coming on. Y'all check it out on HBCU Sports, all the social media platforms, Facebook, YouTube, all of that good stuff.
Did y'all hear that?
Nationwide, P. White.
Nationwide, baby. We're going to take over the world.
Big Time Sports.
That's right. That's right. Big Time Sports Show is coming back, and it's about to hit them again. You know how we do it. If you're sensitive, you got sensitive ears. I'm just letting you know you might hear some flip words on that. So.
And I be trying to control myself here on these radio waves. I have to, it's so used to the world of sometimes YouTube, and there's so many different ways to put yourself out there. But then the world of radio is often forgotten with the rules that come with it. And I'm not talking XM radio. I'm just talking about your local regional radio broadcast. And, it's still some limitations to where I can push these certain areas of where I like to go. So I think I do a good job, Flood, in the 2 hours of the show. Because I like the words, the flim flam and the flims and the flams and all of whatever else you want to say. But I try to refrain from them.
Exactly. But one thing about this radio thing, man, we're broadcasting to over 300,000 people. We're in Alexandria, we're in Baton Rouge, we're in New Orleans. People are picking us up on Facebook Live, all of that kind of stuff through the radio medium. So we broadcasted to at least 370,000 people. So, it's hard, it's easy. It's a medium where you have to have the discipline, but you reach those people directly, and it's always a beautiful thing to get that response when you on the streets or people hitting you up in your inboxes, letting you know that they listen.
That's it, man. Well, we up against the break. You sticking on, or you headed out?
Man, y'all headed. I just want to give a happy birthday to my mother. Today is her birthday.
Happy birthday!
Happy birthday. Yes, to her. Man, I appreciate it. Y'all go ahead and carry on. Next week, it'll be Flood and P. White back on the Jaguar Journal. Because as always, it's the Jaguar Journal.
That's Flood. That's like when your uncle stick his head in the room. How y'all doing up and up? Y'all still? All right. Y'all good? All right. I'll see y'all later.
All right.
All right, Flood.
Bye. It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you too. Bye-bye.
All right, let's take a break. We come back. We had Unc peek his head in. Now we're going to talk about some SWAC basketball, all right? Southern men and women over in Houston, Texas, and we'll go around the conference. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
All right, we are back. It is the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody out there in radio land, YouTube land, Facebook Live land. I don't care how you're listening to it. Just good morning to you. Thank you for joining us this morning. Everybody up in Alexandria, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, down in New Orleans, and across the world. Go hit that subscribe button if you're watching on YouTube or you want to watch it on YouTube, right? Go watch and hit that subscribe button and go over to our Facebook page, the Jaguar Journal. Hit that follow button, right? Just follow, like, whatever. We just want your support. Got Sydney in the building with me today, and we're going to talk some SWAC men and women basketball. And you know how I do things here on the Jaguar Journal. Southern University women's basketball team defending home court last week against Alabama A&M. Southern women getting the victory 67-60 in that ball game. Southern University women shooting 25 of 61 for 41%, 6 of 12 from the three-point line for 50%, and 11 of 14 from the free throw line for 78%. On the other side for Alabama A&M women's basketball, 25 of 58 for 43%, 3 of 12 for the three-point line for 25%, and 7 of 11 from the free throw line for the women Bulldogs. Lady Bulldogs, women Bulldogs, it don't matter. They took an L, shooting 63% from the free throw line, 67-60 victory for Southern University women's basketball. And then on Monday, of course, you take on one, you got to take on the other. The big cousin, little cousin, big brother, little brother, whatever the case. I don't know what they doing in Alabama, but it was Alabama State, right? Coming into town, Southern University women continuously doing what they do, defend home court 79-63 against the Alabama State women's basketball team. In this game, Southern University shooting 30 of 63 for 47%, 2 of 6 from the three-point line for 33%, and 17 of 23 from the free throw line, shooting 73%. On the other side for Alabama State women's basketball, 16 of 50 for 32%, 3 of 13 from the three-point line for 23%, and 28 of 36 from the free throw line, shooting 77%. Around the conference on Saturday, you look at some other matchups. UAPB women's basketball team getting back on track. That continues to roll 80-57 over Alcorn, Florida A&M, 71-57 on the women's side. Florida A&M getting the victory. Bethune-Cookman women 74 to Prairie View 61. Sandy Pugh took a L in that one. Grambling 65, Alabama State 48. And Jackson State women 70-54 over Mississippi Valley. And then on Monday, Southern University, of course, I told you, get the victory over Alabama State 79-63. Florida A&M women continue to keep it rolling 71-63 over Sandy Pugh. Texas Southern with a 1-point victory over Bethune-Cookman 65-64. Grambling women roll on over Alabama A&M 69-52. Alcorn State get back on track over Mississippi Valley 70-65. And then the big game, I thought it was the game of the year, right? Thought it was the game of the year in conference, the game of the week, whatever the case it was. Jackson State versus UAPB. Jackson State came into that game on a 10-game win streak. UAPB on a 5-game win streak. Two of the best teams in the conference. And you look at the matchup, but unfortunately, UAPB fell short in that one. 72-56. Jackson State women continue to roll on as they remain undefeated. All right, let's do the SWAC conference standings, right? Let's start from the bottom all the way to the top. Mississippi Valley 1-10 in conference play. 2 teams tied at 3-8, Alcorn State and Alabama State. Texas Southern right there above them, 7 games out at 4-7. Prairie View tied with 3 other teams, Bethune-Cookman and Alabama A&M, all 5-6 in conference play. 6 games out. Florida A&M battling their way back, 6-5 in conference play, 5 games out. Southern University, still, you got to scratch your head sometime when you watch them play, but I still believe they are a contender for a SWAC tournament championship. And they are 7-4, 4 games out, 8-3 for Grambling State and UAPB, both in conference play, 3 games out. And then leading the pack on the women's side, Jackson State. The women of Jackson State just continue to roll on, and they do their thing. Let's jump over to the men's side and men basketball, right? Southern University doing a great job holding down the home court, doing a great job remaining undefeated at home this season. And they got a victory last week against Alabama A&M, 69-62 in that ball game. Southern University shooting 18-54 for 33%, 5 of 18 from the three-point line, shooting 27%, and 28 of 37 from the free throw line, shooting 75%. On the other side for Alabama A&M, who really fought hard in this ball game, they shot 21 of 52 for 40%, 4 of 13 from the three-point line for 30%, and 16 of 24 from the free throw line, shooting 66% in that ball game. Southern gets the victory. Then on Monday, keeping things rolling against the Alabama schools, Southern takes the big victory over Alabama State, 11-point win, 73-62. Southern shoots 23 of 54 for 42%, Tough night from the three-point line, though. 8 of 23 for 34% and 19 of 23 from the free throw line, shooting 82% in that ball game. You look around the conference at other games. Let's start Saturday. Bethune-Cookman, the team that I keep telling you guys about. I believe they are sneaky good. They are a team that don't be surprised. They can low-key win this whole thing, but you got to come ready to play. 84-78 against Prairie View. Alcorn State gets the victory, 68-56 over Pine Bluff. Texas Southern in overtime over Florida A&M, 78-75. Grambling gets a big victory over Alabama State, 74-68. And Jackson State men continue to whoop up on Mississippi Valley. As Mississippi Valley, you heard from Charlie Neal, still winless on the season, 77-69. Monday matchups. Prairie View jumps back, gets back on board, 61-58 victory over Florida A&M. Texas Southern loses to Bethune-Cookman. Once again, listen to me about this Bethune-Cookman team. Start to pay attention to them. 83-79 over the Tigers of Texas Southern. Jackson State all over Pine Bluff, 76-63. Alcorn State, 72-55 over Mississippi Valley. And Alabama A&M, 60-50 over Alabama. Grambling beating Alabama A&M. All right, SWAC standings as we wrap this thing up. Mississippi Valley at the bottom, 0-11 on the season in conference play. FAMU, 2-9 in conference play. 3 teams all at 5-6. Prairie View, Alabama A&M, and UAPB 4 games out. Even at 5-6, they're just 4 games out. Interesting, right? 3 more teams above them, 3 games out, all tied at 6-5 in conference play. Jackson State, Alabama State, and Alcorn State. 2 teams tied at that 7-4 record. That's Bethune-Cookman and Texas Southern. They're 2 games out. Grambling 1 game out at 8-3, and Southern University at the top of the pack at 9-2 on the men's side. Sydney, what you got for me?
Okay, so you mentioned women's basketball. I feel like we should start with women's basketball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to women's basketball, that's the one thing I love when it comes to the sport of basketball in general, is that everything is a toss-up.
Mm-hmm.
It's not necessarily like football where you already know preseasons a lot of the time. That's what stands. You already know when a team's good, who to play, who to put in. Like, you already know. But with basketball, we saw this with the SWAC championship last year.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we beat, it was a 3-point by number 2, Aaliyah Fontenot.
Talking about on the women's side.
On the women's
side. Yeah,
side.
UAPB and Southern.
No, I was talking about the SWAC championship last year.
Yeah.
Going back to my original statement, how it was a toss-up. That was a close game. Aaliyah Fontenot throw it up, put it in, boom, we in this NCAA tournament. And what the thing is with the SWAC women's is that they weren't. Here's the thing: they lack consistency.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to play in this current system, even though they have almost the entire roster there with only 2 people I think left. They're utilizing a whole new point guard, which is Kayla Billow from Alcorn, who transferred in. And right now they were trying to find, because if they started number 1 seeded, dropped to 6. Now they're slowly starting to come up with this past win. Especially because, you had Genovia Johnson, number 23, I believe. She put up 23 points herself.
She's had a tough stretch, too. She had some tough stretches where she just didn't bring her A game. And I think one of the toughest things were when you looked at their lead against Jackson, right? Jackson is pretty much taking over the game against everybody. But Southern women's team in the 4th quarter blew a 29-8. They let Jackson State outscore them 29-8. And that was tough when you had that game basically right there. But what that game did show me was that at any given time, they can compete with anybody in the conference.
And they can.
They just got to be able to knock down free throws when it's needed, and they have to be a better, efficient shooting team. And I think if you want to see this team get better in the future, they're going to have to find some bigs as well. I think that's the separation of when you look at UAPB and Jackson State.
Especially with Jackson State in the past, their entire starting 5 is over 6 foot tall as women.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the time, our starting 5, you have 2 girls that are barely touching 5'5".
Mm-hmm.
When you're playing at the level of Division I conference play, you have to have bigs. And not just that, alluding to what you just said as well, too, they need more endurance. That's the thing when it comes to this team. A lot of time we've seen when it comes to the second quarter or second half, especially the last quarter, they're burnt out by these teams. They don't have the endurance to do so. It's like they'll put in in terms of field goal percentage, free throw percentage. They'll have the stats at the beginning of the game. Second, especially going into the second quarter they'll always come in. Going into the third, that's when things start to drop. That's when you can see they're tired. They're not able to utilize the bench because the bench they don't have depth on the bench to do so.
Mm-hmm. You look over at the men's side, Southern men's team, they were struggling at one point. And I wouldn't say struggling. It was just a little bit like what's happening. They went on the road, took a loss to Bethune-Cookman. You heard Charlie Neal talking about that arena. That arena is very personable, and it is tough to go in there and get a victory against Bethune-Cookman in that arena. Southern fell short in overtime after blowing the lead in that game, and then on the road at Grambling and falling short after blowing the lead in that game. But they seemed to right the ship What do you look at when you look at this Southern men's basketball team, in your opinion, and they seem to get back on track now, found themselves at the top spot on the men's side?
When it comes to Southern men's basketball team, my biggest thing is that they're able to play no matter what the system is. And that's one thing, because normally whenever you have a player out due to injuries or whatever that is of the nature, a lot of the time it's hard for a team to wrap around themselves. It's hard for a team to figure out, okay, so who's taking the lead now? Who's playing point guard? Who's setting up this? Like, who's doing screens? Who's setting up the plays? But you have this team, like you have people like Derek Tezano. You have, who else is on the team?
And Tezano, his game has really gotten better. You look at Tajon Damasi. You look at, I really like Tezano, though. Tezano, here's a guy that is really taking over in the role and doing what he needs to do in order to really take on this team. You talking about Brandon Davis, who is also on the HBCU All-Star watch list. He's a guy that puts up big buckets. And for Southern, they've been consistent at putting in the buckets. But I think for anybody, when you look at Tezano's game, you have to be able to circle him and watch how he's progressing. I went to a couple practices and watched him. After everybody's gone, he's still in there working on his shots. He's working on his layup. He's working on his game. And I think for Southern, Tezano is going to have to continue to play at that high level because they're going to get it out of Damasi and they're going to get it out of Brandon Davis, but it's all about what can they do with Tezano as well.
And I've noticed with Tezano, too, his basketball IQ is very, very high. And I think that's important whenever you actually have to play against a lot of the teams. When to know when to turn into a layup, when to actually go into, like, when especially utilizing the paint. He's efficient. Whenever he has the ball in his hands, everything is going to be efficient. He's going to be 7 for 8. He's going to be 3 for 6. Not 3 for 6, 5 for 6. He's going to put up those numbers, especially when you have somebody who's in his front court as well as Brandon Davis. That's a team right there. The only thing is I think that also another problem when it comes to Southern men's basketball team is their centers. I think it's their centers. Especially when you have right now, you have Delang Mungan, who's coming out of Australia, and you have Brente Noel, who's coming out of Baton Rouge. They need to utilize the centers because when they're in the paint, they're not being the big men they need to be. They're not boxing out. They're not getting those rebounds. So it's hard whenever you have to step the next play, whenever you're playing catch up.
Yeah, they're a little light. I need to take them to the calf, man, and fill them up on some food. Get a little muscle, get some body mass on them a little bit. Let's get ready to take a break. We'll come back. What they say in football, put them foes up because we're going to get ready to close this thing out. It's the last quarter, so y'all stay tuned more to Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At CareSouth, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in healing is just a phone call.
Oh, man, what a show. These hours have flown by. I am Perry White. Got Sydney right here. It's the Jaguar Journal. Good morning to everybody. I hope you guys have enjoyed today's show. My man Flood peeked his head in. Unc said he'll be back next week rocking and rolling with me. Want to thank my guy Charlie Neal of HBCU Go TV. They're up in Huntsville, Alabama today for Alabama A&M and Mississippi Valley. So if you're watching, you want to see some black college basketball, regardless of where you at around the nation, check your local listings. I don't know your TV stations, but check your local listings. Want to thank Toby Renz, the new volleyball coach at Southern University, women's volleyball, and my man Chris Crenshaw, Southern University baseball over in Houston today in the Cactus Jack HBCU Classic. They won last night against Alcorn. They got Grambling today. And Southern men and women basketball. And I know we deep in Houston. And I know Houston listens to this show a lot. Take y'all, go over there and support Southern University men and women. They taking on Texas Southern and Prairie View Saturday and Monday. They need all your support. You know, it's always tough anytime Louisiana come over to Texas. And so go over there and support. I know you guys will. We typically do right when we're in the Houston area. Sydney, I know I told you a 2-hour show you was going to rock and roll. Was it so bad?
Actually, was not bad at all. Y'all, when I'm telling you, I was so nervous coming in at first. It's early. It's my first time on radio. I'm like, what does he have me doing? Literally, this is just another conversation like we have like at school, talking to people.
That's it.
That's literally exactly what it is.
And I try not to complicate it with people, especially, you know, somebody will say, hey, we coming on the show, and then they kind of load you and they overwhelm you. You don't know what to expect, and you start formulating. I don't like doing it because I don't like it myself. I'm kind of you see, I don't have no notes. I don't do all it. We just flow. I just kind of let it happen. And the thing about it is you just want to let somebody kind of grow into it their own way. I don't like dictating to somebody how to come in here and go about it. Just let you figure it out. You will see my flow and what I'm doing, and then eventually find out how to jump in with it. Who we got? Tony. Let's put him on. Good morning, Tony.
Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, Brother White. Good morning. Just a pleasure to hear Sydney this morning, and Brother Perry, how you brought her into the show. I'm a 38-year veteran in radio and television broadcasting. Of course, we're broadcasting live as we speak right here on my product, 1110 AM KTTP and FM 107.5 The Vibe in Alexandria. Sydney, keep grinding, keep doing what you do. It's hard to find young talent, and, sometimes you just got to kind of make your own way. I did it at the University of Houston. They didn't have an opportunity for students to be on the air, so I walked across the street to KTSU, 90.9, Jazz in all its colors, became their news director, and here I am 38 years later, owning a couple of stations, looking at trying to buy more. Just wanted to tell you to be encouraged, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm very proud of what you have accomplished thus far. Keep grinding, and Perry, good show, man. Good looking out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That actually hit home because I'm from Houston, so I know exactly the station that you were naming too. So thank you.
I was at the University of Houston during the Phi Slamma Jamma era, Perry.
Yeah.
So, I was there with Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, and all those guys. Carl Lewis on the track side. I can go on, Andre Ware. So I was there in the heyday of the sports era, but I've been blessed to be in broadcasting now for 38 years. And again, it's both a blessing and it's a curse. You'll find out down the line.
Yeah.
Y'all take care. God bless.
All right. Thank you, Tony. See, that's what I said. They be listening. And that's a good guy right there to listen. Right there. Hey, we got Tony. We got to get that information over there to her. She needs get some guidance and some ideas, some thought process on how to maneuver through this field and how things going. Like I said, that's why when we got guests and somebody come on, I don't overload them. Like when you said, what we going to talk about? I don't even really want to tell you. I just want you to see when you get in here, kind of flow with it, and you'll figure it out, because I don't want you to feel like you got to overload yourself on homework. Let me try to get this. I got to know this, that. Let's just have conversation. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That's what help it flow, and that's what keep the jitters away. You ain't got to be fumbling through things, making sure you on track and do this. And that's why I try to tell people out there, you think it's easy. You got to find your comfort zone and how to do this. And you do television, so you see in the radio. I do both. And I know the difference when you look at television, because television, you actually get to look at me, right? So when I do mess up, you see it. Radio, I can fumble over something. I don't care. But now I got this camera on me. You see this camera? Wave at the camera, Sydney.
Hey, y'all.
That's Sydney right there. Now I got this camera on me. And that's why they normally don't like to see me sit down. When I sit down, they like, I know he not sitting down. So they watch me. So, hey, so now y'all watch me. But this thing is, you just got to let it flow. And I'm glad to have you on today, and I continue to wish you success on what you're doing. You're being seen. I've seen you do your work, and I like what you're doing. I watched your show. I've seen you continuously grow. But I admire the fact that you're able to do this as a student. And to me, that's just showing. And I look around for talent all the time, because the same way Flood saw me and the same way I work with other people, it's the idea of how bad do you want it?
Right.
You know, a lot of people just want to be in front of a camera. A lot of people just want to be seen. They're just looking for the viral moment, but understanding behind the camera, in front of the camera, the work that it takes to write a script, to write and look over stats, to know what you're talking about, to interview people, to have a whole understanding of the world. I'm listening to the questions like you asked the volleyball coach. He said, great question. You relate to volleyball because you played. Talking to Charlie Neal, asking about being young in the industry. You know, talking to Chris Crenshaw, talking about baseball and how to make the program better. Just listening, you got an idea and an understanding of it, and that's what it's about at the end of the day. And unfortunately, it is really tough to find talent of people who want to be consistent and not just show up when the lights come on, but do the work when the lights are off.
I can say it's a lot of work. I can say now, because especially going into the world of journalism, you're literally one sound, one band. So, I mean, half the time you're your own editor, you're your own filmmaker, you do audio, you write. So we do everything. So that's one thing I can say, being at Southern, they do teach me a lot, especially with Office of Student Media. That's how I'm able to build my reels, able to build my packages, and that's how I'm able to have the opportunities and do everything I do now, to be honest.
Southern University, look, I left that thing with a political science major. Where you at in your major? What major?
I am mass communications with a broadcast journalism concentration.
Hey, look, we out here doing big things, and this is the whole thing about it, why we continuously talk about Southern University, because I may have been a diamond in the rough. I don't know. Was you already a diamond, or was you a diamond in the rough?
Honestly, I was already a diamond.
Okay.
I'm not even gonna lie to you. I really was.
Well, I was a little bit rough around the edges. It took some molding and cultivation. They had to get me back right. So, but I appreciate it, you know, and I'm thankful for the opportunity. And once again, I'm thankful to have you on this morning. And I'm thankful for all you guys out there listening in Radio Land, Alexandria. Thank you, Tony, for calling in and representing up in that area right here in Baton Rouge, and as well as down in New Orleans, and everybody listening, watching all across the world. YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and on our Facebook Live. Thank you for having us. If you in Houston,
H-Town, hometown.
That's where she's from. Got the Cactus Jack HBCU Classic today. Southern University taking on Grambling baseball, and then you got Southern men and women basketball in town this weekend, taking on Texas Southern in Prairie View. Go over there and check them out. They call it the H-Town Takeover. So the Jags will be and are in Houston this weekend. So before we get ready to get out of here, I know Mike ready to rush me out. Tell the people how can they follow you, where they need to get you.
Okay, so if you want to follow me on Instagram, is literally my name, Sydney Cuillier, Cuillier. I have a French last name. I know it's kind of hard at times. But more importantly, if you want to watch the show, go on YouTube, search up Sydney's on the Clock or Pelican Broadcasting on YouTube, and you will see it there.
And you can follow me, Perry, every Saturday morning, 7 a.m., 9 a.m., right here on the Jaguar Journal. So, as my man Flood said, same time, same place, because always it's the Jaguar Journal.
Nobody will satisfy your outdoor needs like reliable roofing.
Over the past 15 years, I had 2 roofing systems, including a chimney, installed by Reliable Roofing. I highly recommend them to get the job done.
Reliable Roofing, where no job is too big or small. Just give us a call.
No matter the job, big or small, give us a call.
For over 50 years, Southern University at Shreveport has been preparing students for various careers in the healthcare industry. We want to thank the past graduates, our future graduates, and all healthcare workers for the frontline service, especially in times like these. If you're passionate about helping others and building healthier communities, start your career as a frontline healthcare worker in health sciences. Visit susla.edu.
Depression, anxiety, trauma, nicotine dependence, and more. Many families are struggling with behavioral health issues. Reaching out for professional help is the best thing you can do for you and your family. At Care South, we are committed to helping individuals and families to heal, bounce back, and grow stronger. Our team of professionals are available for telehealth and in-person visits. Call for an appointment today at 225-650-2000. Hope in Healing is just a phone call.